This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, world builders? This is Stephen, your host from Fantology Podcast, along with my lifelong friends, Jake and Josh, talking about just kind of a general conversation about some ideas that I think Josh specifically has in his book that he's been writing recently. Josh has said like no real plans to really try to push a publication or anything, but it's just kind of something you're doing for fun for now. And we can just kind of bounce some ideas around and talk in general about like what makes books work, what would be a good idea, what wouldn't, how do you kind of balance things out and what you're trying to do. So I don't know, just kind of a fun episode for those of us who like books and have thought about writing and haven't really ever tried it, but it's kind of like always something I think in the back of fantasy book readers' heads is like, I should try this sometime.
Yeah. So the deal with mine is it's kind of just like a bucket list, like, oh, it would be really fun to write a book in my lifetime, And so no plans at all to really publish it. I do have, for those that are interested, I do have a link to like the Google Doc that I kind of put things in so I'll write like, this is how I'm doing it. I don't think it's probably even the best way, but I'll write like a chapter in a Google Doc and then I'll copy that chapter into like the main Google Doc once that chapter is finished. So if anyone, I think that link's been posted in Discord before, and if anyone wants to kind of read along, you're more than welcome to. But there's no sort of like edits or anything. If you see something and you want to leave a comment, then if you see like a grammatical thing, feel free. But
I think when you first kind of kicked this off, I read through several chapters and have not kept up with it, but I at least have a general idea of what you're doing. Yeah.
So that's part of it. And then the other thing is I'm writing it with my wife Mackenzie, and there's like two different time frames that the book is taking place in. One like maybe about 15 years in the past, and then one in the present. So I'm writing in the past, and then that's going to be about 2/3 of this first book, and Mackenzie's writing in the present. Her parts she doesn't want to make public, so she's just more, I don't know if self-conscious is the right word, but she just doesn't want people to read it until she's ready. So
is the plan to kind of go like chapter to chapter, bounce back and forth, or big chunk in past, big chunk in present? How are you balancing that?
Yeah, we'll see what the breakdown percentage wise is when we finish it. There will be some bouncing back and forth. I think again, like probably probably like somewhere around 60 to 70% of it will be in the past, because that's gonna be what most of the plot is for the book. And so it'll probably be, for every one chapter in the future, there's like 1.5 to, you know what I mean? It's gonna be more weighted to the past.
That makes me kind of think, so do you feel like when people reading it, I'm just automatic comparison to like Stormlight that does a similar like flashbacks in present and stuff like that. In Stormlight, it's really obvious that the present is like the main
focus.
The main focus in Storyline. I don't know like what the ratio is of like text on page, but is that kind of the same thing, like a main narrative and flashbacks, or are they both equally going to have a focus and kind of work together more in the narrative?
It should work together a little bit more than Stormlight, because Stormlight, what I really, really appreciate that does is really give you a deep dive on a specific character. Whereas like the characters in the that I'm writing aren't going to be as important in the present. Like they're definitely involved. They're definitely like characters, but so it's kind of
so it's their general story.
The general premise is that parents, like the parent, so like these people that I'm writing about go on a kind of a mission, find out that they are that they're going to that their kid is going to be kind of the chosen one, and then the present is the chosen one's arc. It's kind of like if you were to break it down into like tropes, is kind of the trope. So it's kind of a way to like explore like the relationships, like there's definitely like in different books like The Wheel of Time and Stormlight, like there's like whenever you have the chosen one arc, like the parents can be involved, but it's never really a big focus. And usually like I tend to see that it's kind of an antagonistic force sometime, even if it's not like an outright thing, like no spoilers, but like kind of in Wheel of Time, like, there's not a super great relationship there. Same thing within like Stormlight Archive with Kaladin and his dad. Like there's always kind of like some,
Yeah, or they're just
That's
orphaned, like Star Wars, Harry
yeah,
Potter.
or Harry Potter. Yeah.
Very
So like in this
typical.
one, yeah. So in this one, it's going to be, the idea is that there's going to be more like you're really going to feel for the parents and what they're going through, because anyway, so and there's going to be some twists and turns and stuff. But that's kind of plot wise. I know we're going to be focusing more on like the setting and world building and stuff here, but that's kind of the general plot outline of the book. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine most of the time books and movies and whatever media does this type of thing and gets rid of the parents because otherwise they're cramping the style of the protagonist, right? Like you need your protagonist to go out and do adventures, and they can't if they have to clean their room. So
Yeah.
I think it's more than just that. I think it's like, would you want to go and like abandon all your loved ones and go do this fun thing? Like that's kind of selfish.
Okay, sure.
Like you think you'd want to like stay with your family, but it's like, oh, but if you don't have a family, then of course you'd go do this.
And this one plays with that as well, because the past where I'm writing, like the parents go on this kind of cool adventure, like learn all these details, and they like know that they're, like the kid knows that they're the chosen one and stuff, but like they feel a little bit, like protected, and they have to be like have all these expectations and stuff like that. So it does play with all that, and of course the kids are gonna get like away from the parents and go on like a adventure and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely that plays into it of trying to live up to your parents and make your own way in life too.
That's a good I feel like that's a good theme to have, like some tension there.
Yeah.
I'm imagining some scenes of like, well, like to quote the sixth Harry Potter movie, I am the chosen one. Some scenes like that where the kids like, well, I'm the chosen one, I think we should do this, and the parents are like, we've done so much research, you're an idiot, that's not what you should do. And like stuff like that could be done like very like really tense drama or like comedic drama, either way.
Yeah, it's probably it's more of a YA book is how it's being written, honestly. It's there's that's just, I didn't really set out to write like that, but I've just kind of, my tone is more young adult. It's not super grimdark. I might eventually want to write one of those, but probably not one I'm writing with Mackenzie. But yeah.
You have a name that you can say for it?
We haven't decided on a name yet for it. No. Yeah. There's also going to be some love triangles, classic love triangles.
Yeah,
Steven's in for that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sign me up for that.
Yep.
Some teen angst, hopefully.
Oh, there's so much teen angst.
Is it a true triangle? I've been seeing a lot. Every once in a while, it pops up on the internet where someone's like, if this person is liked by two people, that's not a triangle. You need to have this person.
So yeah, I guess it's not.
B,
there's no
C likes.
There's no bottoms to the triangle, because it is a love triangle with two brothers liking the same girl. Ooh. So there's definitely
right. Yeah. No, I remember.
There's definitely not a bottom to that triangle. Yeah. This isn't a Game of Thrones. There's okay, Jake. All right. Nice. So yeah. Anyway.
So is your plan? I have no idea how much you're planning and going on with the story, but are you eventually thinking you want to kind of move the main narrative into the present day and move away from the past and like slowly move the timeline
eventually forward? So there's going to be something that happens in the past where a character, we're going to dive, if we do write more books, like the second book will dive deeper into that, what happens in the past with that character. I don't know, it'll make, like, I don't want to give away like too many spoilers, especially because it's not even written yet. So anyway, something's going to happen where one of the characters something big happens to one of the characters. And so so the second book will explore that in the past, but it'll be like kind of forward on the, it'll be less in the past than this one. So at the ending of the past sequence, you're going to think that one of the characters is dead, but they're not actually going to be dead. And you find out that they're not dead in the ending of the first book. And observant readers will probably figure out who this character is and figure out that they're not dead like pretty early on in the book. But
isn't that kind of giving it away right now?
I don't know, maybe we should cut that out, but
I mean, it's up to you.
Like honestly, whoever listens to this, like I want feedback on this kind of stuff, like beta reader feedback. And so if there's a way to make that twist happen better, like that twist working is going to be like pretty important to in the first book. So I kind of want feedback on that as we go.
That kind of stuff's got to be so hard to write, because obviously you cannot write a perfect twist that every single reader will interact with in the same way.
And it needs to be like, it needs to be believable enough where like this person, it's pretty hard. Like it's a trope of somebody that like kind of descends into like villainry or like kind of being on the bad side of the team. So it's hard to write, where one of the good guys becomes one of the bad guys. So anyway, that's
interesting.
That's what I was writing last night. It's kind of the start to that arc.
So you said you've been using Google Doc mainly. I was trying to research the other day, like what's the best way to like organize writing. Obviously like writing itself is like its own thing, but like trying to organize like parts of a story and things like that. And I've been trying to use Notion more for things. And I was like, oh, Notion's got to be great for this. And everything I saw online was like their Notion setup for writing was just links to Google Docs or links to things like that. And I was like, dang, Google Docs seems like such a basic tool, and it's killing it for what it is.
So one thing that Mackenzie and I do, especially because we collaborate on it, is we have our so this is also a life hack for we use Discord for our community, for our, like Mackenzie and I will use Discord to text each other. And so we have like a whole like my phone's Zoom is freaking out. Anyway,
no, it's the auto background on your
we have the auto.
This is obviously sensitive info that we blurred out on purpose.
We'll blur that out on post.
If you need anything, you probably don't want to post anything to Discord that you want to blur out. As a general rule of life, I would think. But yeah, we have like channels for each of the characters, for like plot, for setting, for stuff like that.
Nice.
We'll like brainstorm things on Discord and kind of make notes on like characters and character arcs and stuff on Discord, and then like put the actual writing is happening on Google Docs. So
when I went to London a couple of months ago, everything was on Discord and like 100 different channels, and it worked out really well for me. I don't know if my family really cared about it or not, but I really liked the organization.
Discord's great. I think the only weakness I see for it is just the file transfer size limit, which I get why it's there.
It got bumped up to 25 megs, so it's big enough for pictures now. Actual full size pictures.
But that's the only thing holding me back from converting, I think, my whole family to use it as well, as like the daily group chat.
Anyway, this real quick, I'll keep going on mine a little bit. So the setting is, there's like kind of two islands. It's kind of I lived in Australia for a little bit, so it's kind of based on like Australia and New Zealand, like kind of generally. And one of the islands is like it's a very agricultural based society, and they have like their magic system allows them to like kind of grow crops. So they'll like put their hand on the earth and kind of like convert like energy into like into helping the crops grow. And the other island is a more of a manufacturing, like kind of turn of the Industrial Revolution type setting. And their magic is they can like channel electricity, but they haven't really invented batteries, because they haven't really had a need to invent batteries, because their bodies are kind of like batteries. So So like if there's like a manufacturing line or something, like the people standing at the manufacturing line are the like power behind the like the line and everything.
So everyone has the magical ability.
Yeah, and some are in both parts. Some are stronger than, like, some people are obviously like more attuned to it than others. And it's more of the earth that gives them that ability. Like it's not really genetically bred. It's like living on the land, like, and like is what imbues people with the power. So like theoretically, if one person goes from like is born on one continent, but then like grows up in the other, then they're probably be able to like, use that magic system, if not as strongly as the others.
If you
So-
leave for an extended period, do you lose it? Is it like only available in that area?
So no, but it's different between the two. So like that's part of the plot is they're needing to like, anyway, they're needing to use their magic to like break into a place. So they're able to use it, but it like feels a lot different to like use like the magic and like the soil and like over on the other continent. And then like if somebody were to go to like the agricultural one and try and use the electricity, because it's not like really used to doing it, like they would be able to do it, but like it would feel kind of like a lot different to them, like swimming through mud or something, like they're able to do it, but not as strongly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you
Is
say you're
one
like,
nation like the good guys and the bad guys?
So, and then there's a third group of people that are called the administrators, and I haven't really started writing this part yet, but they kind of overtook people from like a smaller island nation that that had like the power of prophecy, and kind of like took like their whole like kind of like island nation, like took a bunch of the land and basically just like put it in the center of this, like the industrial one, and have been using these people, like a small community of like maybe like a couple hundred people, to like control both of these like other island nations. They're called like the administrators, and they're kind of the bad guys, because they've been kind of keeping these two people separate and exploiting both of them in order to like maintain their power structures.
it reminds me, probably because you just said administrator and then also prophecy, but similar to the Lycanius trilogy.
Yeah, it's
that
kind of
way.
inspired by like Lycanius. Like they Lycanius had a pretty big outside impact on my reading. So
Because Islington is Australian too.
yeah, it's Australian. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. You have to have a character named
James.
Lington.
Yeah, and the names have been fun. I kind of like try and use like earthy names for like the one, like the agricultural, and then like kind of
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
Wait, so the administrators took an island and put it on the other island?
but they like took a bunch of the soil and like
That's what generates
And-
the power, right?
yeah, that's what generates the power. So like they didn't move like the whole island, but they like kind of moved, like took a bunch of the soil, took a bunch of the plants, and like have this like kind of like built this like big wall around it, and like have all the plants and everything growing in like the center of the island. So it's like definitely diluted the power of the prophecies, but it's still like given them enough like knowledge in order to like control the two people. So
You think
that's how
you'll
they're going
go-
to find this.
Do you think you'll go like Minority Report Matrix style, using the people who can prophesy, like just like I mean, this might be spoiler territory. I don't know. It sounds like you're shutting down.
For
but,
my
like-
book, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Like those people who are like the few hundred you said who can like do the prophecies, like are they like, is it like living in like a concentration camp? Are they free to go about? Are they like in league with the administrators? Or is it like they're unconscious and just like you have a stream of their like mental power and seeing what they're prophesying?
Yeah, so they're definitely not like unconscious. It's not like they're just being tapped for their prophecies, but they're not really free either. Like they're given kind of like lives of luxury, but they're trapped within like this kind of
Okay.
complex. Yeah,
So kind of like a Warbreaker a little bit.
yeah, exactly. Like it's like pretty mysterious. Like people know that the administration has like access to like this knowledge and stuff, but like it's not really widespread knowledge of like how they're doing it.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And that you said you're about halfway through your parts.
Mhm. Yeah.
How far do you
halfway.
think McKinsey is?
She's probably like a third of the way. So we want the book, it's gonna be shorter. We want it to be between 80 and 100,000 words. So like not short, but like longer than a novella, but like not, a brick
So
or
like
anything.
250, 300 pages.
Yeah. How long did Shauna say her third book, she said was the longest at like 130,000, right? I think she said that's what it was.
I don't
don't know.
remember.
Anyway,
Her
yeah,
her book is like, I have it around here somewhere, but it's
kind of like,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
It's a good length.
It's like
I was gonna
it's
say
like
it's a good
three,
length.
400. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Like, oh,
So quick maths, if you're about halfway done, and she's about a third of the way done, and yours is going to be 2/3, and hers is going to be a third. So a third of a third and half of 2/3. So you're about halfway done total, I'd say. That's my fast math.
That's you.
Yeah, good maths, UK.
we're let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to find like legends and lattes of workout. Picture more like a legends and lattes length book than like a
Okay.
Ray Sanderson length.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
I
did
mean,
you-
that sounds like a pretty big plot for a shorter book.
Yeah. And so who knows how much we'll actually get to in that plot and like how much will be explored. Like I don't know if we'll explore like the whole backstory on like how the prophets got there and everything. Like it might just be like they know that there's prophecies there. But that's kind of built out to explore in later books too. The general plot is there's 3 kids that go in the past. There's 3 kids that hear about this prophecy that could like unite the 2 island nations and like be able to like throw off like the administration. So they hear about this prophecy, they go and they try and like break in and steal the prophecy. And then you end up knowing that they are somewhat successful because the prophecy, they know that their kid is the chosen one and that they need to and that the kid is going to be the one that actually unites the people based on the prophecy that they find. And then in the real like the story that's like in present day, it's not really in this book probably going to be about actually uniting the people, but one of their friends gets sick and they know that there's like this herb that can heal their friend, so they go on this like kind of quest to get this herb of legend or like this plant of legend to go heal their friend. So that's going to be more of like the quest in like the modern time, or in the present time, I should say.
So are you planning on kind of the big twist reveal, whatever you want to call it, being like kind of simultaneously in past and present? They are like, the chosen one is the guy, and in the present day he's like, I'm the guy.
It'll be kind of like that,
or
only
girl. I
it'll
don't know.
it'll be a little bit like that, only
Shame.
it's gonna be I don't want to outright spoil it.
Is it gonna be like, oh no, this guy is a villain, and then in the present that villain captures them or something?
Pretty much, yeah.
Nailed it.
Only, and there's one more pretty big part to the twist though, of like who that villain is in relation to the characters. So that you can anyway.
Okay.
So you're gonna figure out like, oh dang, this happened, this is who this person is, that person is not the person we thought they were. And yeah, anyway, if I do it all well and everything, that is so
going back to my fast maths, which I think are pretty accurate.
Okay.
You're about halfway done with the book, I'd say. How much of that, like, how has that writing been? Has it been pretty steady, or was there like a huge time period of progress and like productivity, and then it's like been hit or miss before then, or where? Yeah,
it's more in fits and bursts, I guess. And that's based kind of on like the TV shows we're watching and if they're coming out, because we really only have
writer's strike, great time.
Yeah.
Great time for this.
So we only really have like maybe an hour and a half together every night. So like if there's like 5 TV shows that we're really into that are all coming out like at once, then that kind of eats up most of our weeknights. And so like we're really trying to make a big push this month because like there's really no shows on right now that we're watching besides Silo I'm enjoying. And then our goal is to finish in November. So our goal is to like write a ton this month. And then we have a baby due in August. So we figure like August and September probably won't be a lot of writing, but then hopefully August, September, October probably won't be. And then November, we're going to try and like clear out that month to like do a lot of writing and try and finish the first draft of it at least. So that's kind of that won't happen, but that's what we're saying we're going to want to do. But
Nice.
I honestly really like writing. Like I don't think I have any like above average or even maybe even an average skill at it. But when I'm writing, I feel like I'm reading, and I really like reading, obviously, because that's why you do the podcast. But it kind of feels like you're reading only exactly what you want to have happens. So it's kind of fun.
You're like typing away, man. I love this author. This is so good. Whoa, look at that twist.
Pretty much.
I'm just imagining Nick Miller writing Julius Pepperwood right now.
Did you have to Google that, Stephen, or is that just you just knew that you just remembered the?
No,
he definitely Googled it.
I've been
everyone.
rewatching.
Rewind.
No. I've been rewatching New Girl.
That is
it's
impressive,
top of mind.
That is impressive.
It's not impressive because I've been rewatching New Girl, so it's top of mind.
So great reference. That's amazing.
I mean, eventually Pepperwood got pretty good, I guess. So
I mean, it landed YA, right?
Yeah. Just keep on going at it, and you'll get better. I mean, initial drafts were way bad of Pepperwood.
Like, thanks, Stephen. As you mentioned, you had read mine.
Similarly, initial drafts are bad.
You said you were gauging your skill as below average. So, I mean,
I'm just saying, I think that almost anybody could do it. Like if they sat down and did, tried to write, they'd probably be able to do at least if it goes as good of a job.
Yeah, but honestly, just sitting down and writing is way harder than you're making it out to be.
It's so hard.
That's true. And then the other thing I'm thinking about doing is if we do ever release it, trying to do it in kind of an interesting way, like released a few chapters at a time and like as like a podcast or like a YouTube video or something, and kind of do some cool release strategy like that. I don't think I'd ever really put it up for sale necessarily, but
create an audiobook.
Yeah, do like an audiobook. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's my broad hopes and visions for this.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely circulate it around to those that you feel comfortable with and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's why, like, literally, if you're listening to this on our Discord, I'm comfortable handing out or passing out the link, and want feedback on it. So I don't know. That's about me. You guys have any questions, or should we talk about Jake's stuff that he had on docket?
Well, I mean, so as you write, like, what do you find difficult, or what are you able to get through quickly, and what do you take a while to put down on paper?
So I've had to kind of like let go of being super critical of my writing. Like I'll go back and read it and be like, dang, this is so bad. Like if I ever go back and read like a paragraph, I'm like, I totally said the same thing twice. I should, I use that word like 5 times in that same sentence, just stuff like that, where if I go back and reread it, then I just get super critical. But
so not just the Patrick Rothfuss style.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying like telling the story. So I just make myself like, once I'm done with the chapter right now, unless like I need to go retcon something plot wise, then I just keep moving forward instead of going back. If that makes sense. The other thing I did was I just jumped in like mid part of the story because I didn't really know how I wanted to begin it. So I just like started on, like when it started mid journey for them, like as they were going from like one continent to the other, I just like started while they were on their ship, and I knew that wasn't going to be the beginning of the story, but like I hadn't figured out exactly how I wanted to start it. I'm still not super confident.
That's the part that I read.
Yeah. So I'm still not super confident that I got the first few chapters right. But I at least have something now down for it. But
so at least you know first drafts. You like first drafts.
Yeah, I like getting the story out of my mind. I'm like, oh, I want this to happen, and then I like writing that. And when I go back and read that happening, then I'm like, oh, that, that the words that I used and everything, like the syntax and everything, did not come out great, but
it's there. Yeah,
but it's there. Yeah,
that made me kind of think of it's like a philosophical question, like, just that they're like, a story doesn't have to have a beginning. Like, it could start at any point, because you can always give like background information later on, information from the past at a future point, or vice versa. And it's interesting that like you said, you just started with a scene that you didn't plan on starting the book at, but that could end up being like, I don't know, just like any story you think you have in your mind, it doesn't have to start like chronologically from the beginning. So to your point, just like, yeah, pick a scene that you want to write and write it, and then you can build off either way. And if you're like, no, I still don't want this to be the starting point, that's fine. Or it might end up being the starting point.
Yeah. The other thing that's been kind of hard for me, because I initially chose that scene because I knew it was going to have like two of the main characters interacting. And so I hadn't heard Anderson say like that he would just like start writing a scene in which two of the characters talk to each other and just like to get their voices out, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll just do that. But the I think that's been harder than I think I thought it would be, is just making characters consistent, like reacting inconsistent, and like
nailing their characters down and making sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's not just me, like as the author, kind of just saying like everybody responds the way that I would respond, it's like harder.
It's not just like happy Josh, sad Josh, mad Josh. It's actually different characters.
Right. Yep. And how they would respond, because one character would respond if they were mad, then they might just shut down. And whereas if another character were mad, they might like explode. And another character, if they were mad, might like, go and do something about it. Like, and so really getting that down for each of the characters and having them respond consistently in like a way that feels authentic to their character, even if it's not like quote unquote consistent, but like in a very character driven way. That's been harder than I thought. Cause like I would go back and like, I've gone back, because I actually went back and read the beginning. So I had to read the first few chapters of what happened after that, so I could make it kind of like line up. I'm like, oh, that's not really how like that character would act if I was writing that character. Now that I've written like 10 chapters of that character, that's probably not how I would have written them acting, how I would write them acting now, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So okay. So it sounds like it's a lot of kind of discovery writing for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I'm definitely doing it more discovery. Like I just outlined like the whole plot. So it's obviously not like pure like Stephen King, discovery writing, because I have, a plot down that I want to get out. But yeah, it's figuring out the characters as I go. Even if I thought I had them figured out, then like writing and then they kind of change and need to be consistent. I'm finding that harder than I thought I would.
Yeah, that makes me think J.R. Tolkien, like he was obviously a master like outliner and like had these big ideas, but there's like letters between him and his editor when he's writing The Lord of the Rings, like after The Hobbit, and they're like asking for an update, like, so when are you going to be done with this? Like, I need this now. And he's like, well, I thought this would happen, but as I was writing, the characters started doing this, so I need to figure out where this is going now. And just that idea of like, even though you can like map things out, like there's still that exploratory aspect while you're actually writing and seeing where things feel natural to lead to. But
yeah, it seems like it's a lot easier to outline your big world and big plot events and factions and whatever, and then you throw characters in and they have to go on an adventure and make it an interesting story. That's probably harder to control than it is to I mean, obviously, like a kingdom is not going to decide to get up and move itself into a different part of the country, right? But the character could decide to run off because they're mad at their love triangle situation.
Yeah. There's a Stephen King story. I don't know if this has actually happened. I don't know if I've read like a first time account, but I won't say the name of the book, but it's a book that Jake and I have reviewed on the channel. And it's like he got all the characters to a point and he wasn't really knowing how to move the characters on from that point. Do you know if this is real, Jake, or if it is just kind of apocryphal?
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to
You
say.
don't know what I'm
next.
going to say?
No.
Apocryphal. Definitely an
Apocryphal.
author. Yeah.
Nice.
So he got all the characters to the point and then couldn't figure out how to like move them on to like get to the ending of the book. So he just had like a bomb go off and blow everything up so that the characters had to.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
So
It was
again, I
like-
don't know if that's
Yeah.
so he just like didn't know what to do because the characters, none of them would like decide to leave that setting because they were all like they had kind of
Yeah.
made it.
They had
but
arrived. Yeah.
They arrived, but like they needed, it wasn't the ending of the book yet. They needed to be in another location. So he just had a character just go set off a bomb and blow everything up so that they kind of had to move on.
And that's an interesting one because reading it, it's like, oh dang, this bomb happened, and like it's like kind of compelling. And then knowing it, looking back, you're like, oh, that was kind of like just a bomb went off.
Yeah.
To get things going again. But,
Yeah. And that is kind of the difference between like Stephen King and Sanderson. Like we've talked about a lot, but like Sanderson, sometimes the characters feel stale because they are moving to set up plot events. And I think that Sanderson does great work in characters, but like, I don't think Sanderson would ever let that happen. Whereas like Stephen King, the characters feel really alive and they feel like they're really making authentic decisions, but sometimes like the plot just gets a little screwy and the endings usually don't work nearly as well as like Brandon Sanderson endings do.
Yeah, the bomb would only go off in the Sanderson story if it had been foreshadowed before and was set up by events 1, 2, and 3, and characters X, Y, and Z all had connections to it.
This is neither here nor there and not the topic of this podcast, but I think there's an argument to be said that a big part of the plot of book 4 of Stormlight was essentially a bomb needs to go off here. I don't want to give spoilers away, but for those that have read like through most of Kaladin's plot and Rhythm of War, kind of feels like a bomb needs to go off here.
I can see that.
Okay. I guess
No?
kind of the whole
Okay.
book, honestly.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, not his like ending, but
As
like
far as the
the
sure.
tower stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Fair
Anyways.
enough. It's structured differently than the other books, which makes it, kind of feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. Where were we talking? Yeah. Oh, so
Yeah, my struggles
follow
writing
up-
characters.
yeah. Follow up on this. Do you find it's easier to write the dialogue part or the action part? Like, what's easier, the characters deciding what to do, or the way in which they do it?
Probably what's easier is the characters deciding what to do because that has like a plot. Like I know where the plot's going in general. So like, I guess getting there authentically is hard, but like I said, knowing like how the characters respond to specific situations in general. Like as I've gone back and read what I've written in the past, like their responses and stuff probably don't feel super consistent. At least they don't to me right now. So that's something that I could definitely see going back and like having to do on like a second draft is going and rewriting some conversations here and there to make it seem more consistent. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm trying,
that makes sense.
I'm trying to keep things a lot, and maybe it's hard because I'm trying to keep things a lot more conversation based. That's because I've kind of in my head had it be like maybe doing like a podcast where you have like two narrators that kind of or two people reading that'll go back and forth, like reading the dialogue and stuff. So I've tried to keep it dialogue heavy where a lot of the plot moves forward based on dialogue. and not too much just like an like omniscient narrator going and telling things that are happening. So that makes there be a lot more pressure on the dialogue. That makes sense.
Yeah. And it probably means that the reader is not privy to as many big details that that you just shared with us earlier. They probably have to figure those things out over a lot of conversations and situations.
Yeah, it's definitely more like a third person limited, although like technically I think it would be omniscient, because occasionally I'll say in there like, oh, and he would always regret saying that or whatever, like something like that. Like I might throw something like that in there, but mostly it's very limited to most of what you get is what like that character that this scene is based on. Like you're limited to that character's knowledge of what's going on, for the most part. And then sometimes you'll get something thrown in there that kind of expands it. So that's also been a little bit tricky to do, but.
Nice. Well, Josh is the first of Fantology to throw his hat in the ring and officially, get into actually trying to write. I think it's something we've all, wanted to do. No, I mean, even if you're saying
I think
it's
a
think
first
if
effort.
Jake,
yeah, I think if you or Jake were to get serious about it, you'd probably finish it before me. Finish a book before me.
We haven't, though, I guess.
Clearly you're by Jake's maths, you're halfway there. So
they're pretty good maths. Third of a third, half of 2/3. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I will say
1/9 and 4/9, so 5 nights.
I will say,
dude.
Yeah.
I will say it is fun for those of you that like have a significant other or somebody that you're just close to. It's been really fun for Mackenzie and I to like do it together, like just to like talk about it and to like expand it. And it's something like completely non-pressure that we can kind of talk about whenever, we have some time that we want to dive into it. It's been a good experience. So there's my Josh's couples counseling advice.
Yeah. Having troubles in your marriage, write a book.
Write a book.
Spice it up a little bit.
It's like one of the characters just murders their husband.
Bring in some new characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Complete that bottom of the triangle.
All right. So yeah, on that note. So if any of this is interesting, you can hop on Discord, talk with us there. And like Josh said, the first draft of the book is available for you to
of what's been written so far.
Of what's been written so far. 5 nights of the first book is there for you.
And actually just my portion of it. So thanks, Stephen. I'm ruining your
just
outro.
The 4 nights, just the 4 nights then.
Okay.
Still a pretty significant chunk. And I've read some of it and I mean I enjoyed it. But now that we're recapping here, I feel like I need to catch up a bit. Or maybe I'll wait for the draft to be. Do you recommend just waiting for the first draft to be finished?
Honestly, I know that's probably how most beta readers do it, but like I'm more than happy to, because I'm being so public with this process, like I can turn on the comments, section of, just know that if you like, I guess you can always troll from like a non-signed in account, but like if I do catch somebody like trolling and leaving like inappropriate comments or something, like I'll revoke access for everybody. Like I'm not really going to put up with it.
Yeah,
but
internet,
I feel confident.
Don't blow it.
I do feel confident
that
I do.
You feel confident that the internet, this is going on YouTube. The internet is. I mean, there was a time where we thought
limited to our.
There was a time where we thought Discord could handle political conversation, and that did not work out.
Oh man, who could have foreseen the way that blew up?
I think everybody that's been on the internet for more than a week.
Talk about throwing a bomb in it.
We didn't foresee it strong enough. We needed some of that earth from the prophecy place.
But I don't know. If right now I feel comfortable for maybe I can make it so you have to request the link or something. But right now I feel comfortable that whoever takes the time to go on and find the link in their Discord and wants to read it and hits the edit button will have something good to say, or something that I want to hear said.
Sweet. Well, I mean, it sounds like an interesting story, Josh, and yeah, definite props for actually doing it. I've thought about it for a while and have made no significant progress. So
Same.
yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for making
Yeah.
me feel better.
Anytime,
Sweet.
let's keep each other accountable. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we need to have these episodes more often, and more progress will be made from the other 2/3 of this panel. How's that? How are those maths, Jake?
I love them. I think, yeah, I love them.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yes.